What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Unrefined Project. We are here to talk about a few current events, but first, you probably want to know why we're actually here. I am sitting in this living room across from...
My living room, yes, absolutely.
Across from a buddy of mine that I met through an apprenticeship in a trade that we both currently exist in. I think that's probably good enough. Anyway, I've known him for a while, and we bullshit a lot. And one day we decided... Hey,
why the fuck not record that conversation?
We should probably be recording some of this bullshit. And we thought about it a little bit more. And honestly, I think not only is it really cool that I'm doing this, but it's surprisingly easy. And I think more people should be doing this. I think more people should think what they're thinking and what they're saying is important enough for somebody else to listen. And in a way, it's kind of our own little place to talk about things that aren't being talked about elsewhere. Legacy media, narratives, all that, you know.
Yeah, and how the common man thinks about these legacy media narratives, right? Yeah. I think that's a great idea.
You know, I've been working since I was 14 years old. I worked under the table for some cash jobs all the way up to my current career. And I really enjoy meeting people and talking to people and learning about where they came from and their experiences and what makes them them. I love individuals. So it's a good way for me to be able to talk to individuals and talk about myself a little bit, but also talk about things that I feel like some people are too concerned or scared to.
Too afraid to talk about, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah. I want to be unapologetic about the conversations that I have.
A little unrefined there.
I don't want to be an asshole. You know, I don't want to be like on purpose destroy people, but I want to provoke a bit, and I want to, you know, ask questions. Yeah, for sure. Right? I want to get people thinking about things that are going on. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. This is 2022. We are 2 months into 2022.
Yeah.
That is a little weird to say out loud every now and again. And we got a lot of new things we're dealing with over the last couple of years.
Oh, cheers. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Forgot to cheers. There you go. There you go.
Let's get that out there. Salud.
And before we forget, Daniel behind the computer monitors over there. Thank you, Daniel. Ladies, he's available. He's single. He's beautiful. You should meet him. Let us know if you want to.
Wow. Our first
thank you.
Our first pitch.
First date.
So, yeah, you know, I feel like I get into trouble a lot about the stuff that I talk about, like with my wife, and that's how I kind of know that I'm over my mark. If I'm catching flack, that's how I know I'm over my target. You know.
I think everybody catches flack.
You know, but
except me, I have the most wonderful wife in the world.
She's pretty cool. We're lucky. We're lucky that we have wives that allow us to do this.
Yeah.
Take over a part of a house. But so some people are probably wondering why we have
an American flag and a Canadian flag in the background. Well, we decided to take up some show notes here. We've decided to go ahead and dive into a few subjects that are current and see how that goes. And right now the big one is, for us at least, is the Canadian truckers protest and what it means for our freedoms.
Yeah, our friends up north. It's very interesting what's happening just a couple 100 miles to the north right now. We do a lot of like commerce and business.
Yeah.
With Canada, and we're, you know, kind of compared a lot to Canada in a lot of ways, but man,
I'd say they're a little bit nicer than we are. As a whole, they're a little bit nicer. The fact that this is going on up there and not here it actually surprises me. They're a little bit more laid back. They kind of follow the rules a little bit better. But it's been a total government overreach.
It's been very interesting to see how they've been able to remain peaceful. They've had a lot of, carrots.
I'm sure there's been some, things here and there, minor incursions, minor incidents, stuff like that, but nothing like what you would see here, circa summer 2020.
So far, all I've heard is that some guy was waving a swastika or a Nazi flag or something in the very beginning.
And that was probably a plant. I don't know if I can say that on here, but there's no way. Someone in Canada, in the north.
There was a certain photographer that was taking photographs of the man waving the flag, but he also had his photograph taken, and he was identified as one of the government's photographers.
Right? Sounds about right, yeah.
And then there was, the food bank, where a bunch of Freedom Convoy truckers, patriots came in and stole a bunch of food or demanded to be served because they weren't allowed to eat in restaurants because they didn't want to have their masks on or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it turned out that was police officers, Ottawa police officers, right? So I think they're trying to
Well, even the guys that they found with the swastikas, they had masks on. And if you look at 99% of these, the protesters, they're not wearing masks. They're not afraid to be out there. They're just fighting for their freedoms. And a lot of them, 80-something% of them are actually vaccinated.
Yeah.
They're just out there fighting the vax mandate, right? They don't want it. I mean, it's a government overreach.
I think the whole point is people in the trades, people that didn't have the opportunity to work from home and kind of sit this one out.
Yeah.
They were good enough for a year and a half to deliver goods and services across roads.
Yeah, they were the heroes.
They were
the heroes.
They were denied entry to use the restroom in some of these places. They were
Yep.
forced to stay in their cabs, and not leave their trucks when they were dropping off loads. And now all of a sudden, you're not good enough. I can attest for that as well. I was in a lot of hospitals in my line of work, and
we were
all
the
of a sudden,
essential workers back then.
all of a sudden now I'm not allowed in them, right? Yeah. So it's I can understand the frustration and the sentiment, but at some point you have to say, no company or corporation is going to tell me what I can and can't do with my body. And that used to be a championed statement not too long ago with other topics.
What do you think about Justin Trudeau invoking the Emergencies Act?
Baby Castro?
Yeah, Baby Castro. Justin Castro. I mean, Justin Trudeau.
Yeah,
There's no ties to Castro. Yeah.
I don't know. So there's topics. There are old tweets rather.
Although he looked just like him, doesn't he?
I mean,
that's kind of scary.
The resemblance is uncanny.
And the wife being down there at a swingers party about 9 months before.
There's a lot of montages going around of actually he met Castro.
Yeah, they knew each other, right?
They met right before he passed away, I guess. So there's some interesting videos out there, little montages of him and Castro next to each other and jawlines,
Yeah. Noses. They look very similar.
But yeah, I think it's very typical of a cycle that I talk about a lot, and that's weak men create bad times. Bad times create strong men.
Strong
men create
strong
good
times.
times.
Yeah.
Good times create weak men.
Yeah, it's a cycle, right? We're always going to continue through that cycle.
Justin Trudeau is a weak man.
Absolutely.
He's a weak leader.
Absolutely.
He's a feckless,
Can't say the C word on here.
He's selfish, and he takes a lot of things personally for an individual in a position of such power.
Yeah.
He holds grudges. That was a big thing that, a lot of people talked crap about Trump, was he got too personal with things and he held grudges and stuff.
He was bombastic, but that was about
He was a little bit more of a troll.
Yeah, he was a troll. He was bombastic.
Justin Trudeau walks out of Parliament when he's asked questions I don't know if that's like cool. I don't know if the referee like, takes like a 2-minute timeout or whatever, but like he's left multiple times when he's been asked questions about what he's doing.
Well, the way they work their parliament's a little different than here. They can go in there and they scream at each other. He went in there the other day and he was just getting screamed at and hammered on.
I kind of like it, man.
We need to bring that here.
It's like heckling.
Yeah.
And then,
well, you get to see who's on the right side of things. You get to see who's on the side of the public.
It's debate.
You really do.
It's debate. It
is debate.
It's not so much like something scripted that they wrote the night before that they knew that they were going to go in and just say. It's like active, real time, like you need to think on your feet kind of debate.
Oh, absolutely.
And most of them are just like, and leave, right?
Yeah. I think he had some stupid saying about that Republicans can carry Nazi flags too, or Trump supporter. It was pretty stupid what he said. People start screaming at him stuff. That's what we need. When Biden says something stupid or shits himself on stage, we need the crowd to stand up and just start screaming at him.
Well,
right?
Opposition is never allowed that close to the current administration.
Yeah. He's barely out and about anyways. So
Trudeau gets more interaction with the opposition parties in his country than Biden does probably the whole time he's been in.
Well, I'm sure you've heard that Trudeau saying that he's a tyrant. He's just a flat out tyrant.
He sure is showing his tendencies.
I think we've got a clip. Clip 1. Is it playing? You got the volume up? Go ahead and turn the volume up.
Are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing.
All right, stop it there.
Do not represent
unacceptable views.
To who?
Talking about the truckers. That's a tyrant.
Wow.
That is. What do you mean unacceptable? Who is he to say that I think a certain way that's unacceptable? Right?
Or is he suggesting that it's unacceptable?
I think it's unacceptable for him to, clear out a Kiwi shoe polish store and paint his face black 100 times in a row. But he's done it, right?
That's definitely something they brought up in the Parliament talks. I remember seeing that someone, brought up blackface a couple times. And I was like, oof.
But he's still in office. He's still there. If his dad's Castro, though, there's some resemblance, right?
Baby Castro has some charisma. There is a similar vein with leaders and charisma. Some people can think not too far back to a very charismatic president not too long ago.
Yeah,
that a lot of people liked, right?
I heard that, and I was it blew my mind. It really did. That's like beyond being just a leader of a free world. There's no way a leader of a free world can say that you can't think a certain way. It's unacceptable. What do you mean unacceptable?
It all depends on how you spin it, though, right? He could easily spin this as, well, that's an unacceptable view to Canadians, not to myself or my administration, but that's not Canada. He says that all the time.
No, he's saying it's an unacceptable view, and he's got the backing of the United States. So guess who else thinks it's an unacceptable view? Mr. Poopy Pants. Okay.
I don't know. He's probably.
Come on, man. What are we doing?
He's probably taking notes.
Come on, man.
He's probably taking notes right now.
Yeah, he is.
Right.
Well, the only difference is armed population, right? Canadians have been unarmed for a long time.
About a year and a half.
Well,
look at about 20
I think
months.
it was Australia that was the most recent unarmed population, and then they've got all their lockdowns, their shit going on, right?
New Zealand had that shooter most recently. Went into that church or synagogue or whatever.
The Tree of Life synagogue. Was that the Tree of Life synagogue one?
I forget. It was in New Zealand though. He lived it.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Yeah.
But yeah, that definitely plays a large role. Disarming the population.
Dearming the population is a docile population.
It's also a precursor to a lot of genocide that's happened in the 20th century.
Where do we go from here? Where do you think the Western world goes? Do we go farther into tyranny? Midterms are coming up. It's looking really good for the Republicans. Freedom-loving Republicans, right? You do you, boo, is what I always say.
Who is that though? Like, I don't pay a lot of attention to that, to be honest. I think at the end of the day, it's
All cut from the same cloth.
yeah, it's a choice of the lesser of two evils, and I don't understand how we can run around beating our chest saying we're the greatest nation in the world when we literally choose the less of two evils every time.
We don't. That's the two-party system. I mean, the problem with having more than a two-party system, say you throw in a third party, that third party is going to take away from one of the parties.
We had a third party for
right?
a while.
Yeah, the independents.
The
and Ross Perot was the reason that George H. Bush was not elected a second time, right? Because Ross Perot put his hat in. You know, if Ross Perot had never put his hat in as an independent, more than likely we would have got George H. Bush instead of Clinton for the first round.
You think so?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt about it, right? It screws one party or another, right? So when Bernie Sanders wanted to talk about going independent in the last election, everybody on the Democrat side was like, "No, run for us, run for us. You're gonna run as a Republican or a Democrat. You're gonna run as a Democrat," because if he had stolen part of the base from the Democrats would have gotten screwed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? They would again, and whether there was fraud or not, they couldn't have made up for that. He would have gotten screwed.
It's the same team, bro.
It's
the same team. Look,
left or right, technically they are the same team. They live for themselves. They're out for themselves. I get it.
the greatest smoke and mirrors ever played on the American people is to make them believe that
what
there's
about
actually
Trump?
a left versus right.
What about Trump?
What about him?
He was rich going in. He's a narcissist. He fucking loves himself. But he worked for the people.
I mean, he did certain things that were unprecedented, like
He did.
like not taking a salary.
He did things like not taking a salary. He lost probably a lot of money and market share in his name, just his name alone, by running for president and being hated on from the beginning, over and over and over
But
again.
did he still
for doing what he thought was what people wanted? I don't know if he thinks it's right or not. He might actually think it's right.
look at
you
the
know?
things he continued, though?
What do you mean?
Look at the things that were continued under his administration.
High taxes?
Incredible amounts of spending,
Oh, yeah.
extending the deficit, greater, complain about Obama era deficits and doubled them,
Yeah. And now they've been tripled through Biden. Yeah.
kept interest rates low,
Yeah.
didn't get into war. Great. I applaud him for that.
That was a peaceful 4 years.
Peaceful.
He met with all the leaders. I don't know if he should have given, North Korea the time of day. He did. They kept the peace.
You know what? If we're justifying China at the world table,
China needs to be knocked off the world table. Just flat out knocked off the world table.
you can't be a
There's no
hypocrite
way.
though. If you're
There's no way.
allowing a country that uses slave labor,
Yeah.
you can't
Uyghur labor.
You can't denounce.
That's Uyghur.
You
okay?
can't denounce another country for the same thing. You look like a hypocrite, right? So
Yeah.
in that regards, I think Trump's tough on China stance,
was good.
is kind of the same line
Yeah.
as he did with North Korea. He didn't do the dude any favors. He just met with him,
Yeah.
wanted to open up a line of communication. And say,
Yeah,
hey,
but at some point, meeting with him kind of legitimized him. You know what I mean? Little fat man sitting over there.
he's being more legitimized.
What do you call him? Little fat man, right? Or little.
He was being
Little
more
rocket man.
legitimized, given a Twitter account in the first place, having a movie made about him in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and being talked about by the legacy media to whip up fear in the nation.
Yeah.
That is giving him more of a platform than what Trump did. Trump is good at one thing and one thing only: talking to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
He talks to. He has talked to a lot of people, had a lot of conversations, and gets some people talking about certain things. He brings people to the table. I think that's the whole idea behind the art of the deal.
I thought it was really weird, though. 2014, before he announced. Everybody loved him. Rappers rapped about him. He was on TV. He was
There were
on
lines
The
around
Apprentice
the block to get into his parties.
all the time.
Around the block.
All the time. He was doing well. He ran with an R next to his name.
Because he had to.
Turned on a dime.
Because he had to.
Turned on a dime on him. And now everything for the last 4 years through his presidency, everything he said that came out of his mouth was shocking. Shocking. He was that way before.
None
we
of this
knew who it
none
was.
of this stuff shocked the people who were in on it.
No, of course
was
not.
all-
It
this
was
was
just
all part of the
to
game.
create
This is all
chaos.
part of the
Create
game.
chaos. If you create enough chaos, people get sick of it, right?
Look, Wilbur Ross. Wilbur Ross was Trump's head of fill in the blank in his campaign. Wilbur Ross is a Rothschild agent.
Yeah.
Okay. Trump is and always has been bought and paid for. There's a clip out there on the old interwebs of Wilbur Ross talking about the value of the Trump name and how one should not underestimate the value.
They're all bought and paid for.
You don't get to that level without either being blackmailed, bought and paid for, or complacent.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of the situation we're in. I'll throw a target
Unless
out
you
there.
have a way to put them in jail and have them suicide themselves.
Like Ghislaine Maxwell's accomplice.
Yes.
That was a recent
A name
thing
that shall
happened.
not be named, right?
It's interesting that we know more about who donated to the Freedom Campaign than we know about who had sex with underage girls on Epstein's airplanes.
Well, check this out. You know that Durham report that just came out about
Yeah.
how the Clinton campaign donated to a company that was doing cybersecurity and blah, blah, blah. They hacked into the White House or hacked into Trump Towers. That literally just came out Wednesday.
No. It came out Saturday.
I thought it was
the day
Wednesday.
before the Super Bowl.
Was it?
The day before.
I
the
didn't
Super
hear
Bowl.
about it until Wednesday, right? Super Bowl, nice big distraction.
It dropped.
Eminem
right before.
kneeling, that's a distraction. Yeah, I get the whole thing. But I
I refused to watch it. I didn't watch 1 second of it.
didn't watch 1 second of it either. I'm done. I'm done. Until they bring back the one national anthem for everybody, every color, I'm done.
Well, it's like what we were talking about earlier.
We're all Americans, regardless of color. You don't need two national anthems. I'm done with the NFL.
But that's
right?
the problem with what's happening right now, right? It's like, that's what we were talking about earlier. You literally can't escape it now. Politics is everywhere. People used to go to sports as an outlet.
so intertwined with culture. It's just
But it didn't have to be. 10 years ago, we didn't talk about that crap on the football field. We were concerned about the game, and we were worried about stats and who was injured and who was in, and
just take a look at what Andrew Breitbart said. Politics is always downstream of culture. It doesn't matter what you do. The culture goes one direction, politics is going to follow. Just like 100 years ago, our Republican Party was a Republican Party, right? Think about it. When
Like
the
what,
Republican Party was founded, it was founded on anti-slavery. It was founded on certain principles that we no longer have. They've fallen farther and farther to the left. We're moving to the left no matter what you do. Everything's moving to the left. Right? Sorry, that's my right. But moving to the left. Right? So if you look at JFK would be a uber right-wing conservative nowadays.
Yeah, Obama would be like a centrist.
Obama was a very divisive lefty. He was very divisive, but he talked very well. He was very divisive.
His and Hillary's stance on gay marriage did a complete flip 180 before.
Oh yeah, of course it did.
Before that whole thing.
Of course it did. They needed the votes, right?
But I don't know. I just think, at the end of the day, if you put too much effort or most importantly energy into any of that kind of stuff, you're just going to end up like pissed off and depressed and then you like have to go to the doctor and they prescribe you, therapy sessions and pills and that gets you more depressed and it's just better just to remove your energy. I'm not really concerned with what's happening in Washington. I think what's happening in Canada right now is very interesting. Yeah. And I do think that the individuals involved with that are, doing what they feel is the right thing. They're trying to be peaceful about it.
They're literally sitting in their trucks. They just got notices a couple days ago saying that you need to move your trucks. I think today or yesterday they actually started arresting people out on the streets for showing up. These guys are literally sitting in their trucks, not bothering a single soul. They've had all their accounts frozen. They can't touch their money. That you can't donate gas to them.
as soon as they enacted the emergencies clause or whatever, they were deemed unlawful protests overnight. Then the arrest started, and now I remember about 2.5 weeks ago, there was a video going around of the tow trucks that were like called from Ottawa.
Yeah, they stopped and they wouldn't do it either.
So their information was like caught, right? There was an individual driving by and it had the side of the tow truck with the name and the number.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to name any names, but, certain individuals that I know started trolling those numbers and, putting in fake like tow requests. And there was unlimited amounts of requests that you could do. So you could just literally like Trudeau is a tyrant.
Yeah.
Needs a tow, right? Now they have blacked out tow trucks. They're taped up over all the signs. And they're wearing ski masks, so you can't identify the drivers. They've actually found somebody they were able to pay.
So in our trade, that would be called a rat.
They were able to pay exactly enough fiat to somebody to make it worth their while to actually go undercover and start towing these things. They definitely broke glass.
Until the guys they found out they gave them a 6% raise and inflation's at 9%. Shit, we paid you 3% less. Sorry, but you still did it.
Well, what it is like a lump sum to the owner, and the owner's hey, get your ass out there or you're fired.
Yeah,
kind of deal, right? But,
or you're going to lose this contract for the rest of your life.
They're also doing something very interesting that I like to talk about. They're actually freezing funds.
Cryptocurrencies. They have taken over crypto accounts to fund these people. Isn't that supposed to be decentralized?
Well, do you know what Canada is about to accidentally show the world?
That it's not decentralized?
They're about to, if Bitcoin does what I have been told it's supposed to do, proof of work is right around the corner.
Proof of service. Proof of service is the next part of the blockchain, right? I don't know if Bitcoin's going to. I know Ethereum is.
Proof of service.
Proof of stake. Sorry, not proof of service. Proof of stake, which means that as long as you own a stake in it, you're it's like interest basically.
Proof of work has to be proven first. It is not definitive yet. This is going to be a huge test to see if Bitcoin is actually.
Well, Bitcoin is just it's just transactions,
but it's on
right?
the blockchain.
It's just transactions, right? The blockchain, the only problem I see with the blockchain is I think after a transaction has been posted, I really wish the ledger was wiped.
It's there forever.
It's there forever. It coincides with a number, and the problem with your wallet that has a number to it too. So when there's a transaction that happens, it's supposed to be anonymous because it's just going to some random number, your wallet address.
Well, but
your wallet address now is looked after by the IRS, by other countries.
But do they have the ability to proactively freeze funds or remove funds?
No, they shouldn't, right?
Because do they on the blockchain?
No,
right.
They shouldn't, because it's unrealized gains, right? So here's another thing that I've noticed this time. We mine helium, right? You have to pay taxes on that. I haven't realized any gains on that. I have to consider that a tax income. Yeah, but even though I haven't sold any, which means I haven't realized any gains, technically the government just wants their fucking hands in your pocket.
The majority of people are not mining cryptocurrencies.
No, they're not. They're just buying it.
Are buying it. They
Correct.
own it, and one day they're hoping to be able to use it to exchange for goods and services.
Correct.
It's a vessel.
It depends on what
it's a digital vessel.
You can send the money, and there's no middleman. That's the whole goal. Is you can get rid of the banks. Banks don't like it unless the banks are like, okay, we'll transfer over to this too. Why not? Which could be possible. That could happen.
So how is Canada freezing funds if they have no access to the transactions on the blockchain?
They do have the transaction. They do have access to the transactions because each wallet address has a specific name. My wallet addresses have my name. Even though it's just a number, when I go and do my taxes, the IRS or whatever Canada has, whatever thieves they have up there stealing their patriots' monies,
$9.2 million from Give, Send, Go.
that's a little different.
Taken and redistributed.
No, the one, it was like $10 million on what, not Give, Send, Go. What's the other one? The GoFundMe, right? GoFundMe. What happened is the Canadian government said, no, you're not giving them that money. They don't deserve gas. They don't deserve food. We're trying to get them out of here. Blah, 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 blah. Feed the fucking people. Give them gas.
Firewood.
If you've got to go over there, if you've got to go over the border, give them gas. Give them food. Help these people out. They're literally
there are other ways.
just standing for what they believe is right. Whether you believe it's right or not, they do believe it's right, and they are standing up better than anybody in this country right now.
Well,
So
we technically are supposed to have our own.
there is a convoy going on
Freedom
here right
convoy.
now. I guess it's headed to D.C. I don't know where they started. It's supposed to start on West Coast, head to the East Coast. You know, and I hope they make it. I hope they get out there and they stand tall. And I hope the Canadians, you know, what you were saying earlier about Canadian asylum, bring that up.
Yeah, well, Stephen Crowder actually floated the idea that there has never been a better case for an individual seeking asylum in the United States than what is happening in Canada right now.
Yeah.
Individuals are having their freedoms revoked underneath emergency acts, all in the name of safety. Gotta love that. That's been a major theme over the last 2 years. If we can only save one life. But yeah, I mean, the asylum potential of individuals that are having their bank accounts frozen by their government, who's already deemed them a domestic terrorist. Pretty sure the law is like the closest country to the country of origin that is deemed acceptable to seek asylum in the first place. I mean,
Isn't that perfect? That's you're literally fleeing political persecution. That's the goal of that, right? You're not leaving a country because you don't like the way it's run. You're not leaving a country because you're poor there and you think you could be rich somewhere else. That's not political persecution.
I mean, that's happening a lot. It's happening a lot. A lot of people are coming to this country because of that. But I mean, that's a whole
that's not political persecution, right? That's like, okay, the grass is greener.
That's
let me
like
go,
hey,
right?
I'm gonna get on that show. 90
The grass is greener. Let me
start dating like a fat white chick. And
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
get my green card and then bail, right?
Or the my wife used to watch that. And it was horrible. It was
There
was one from like
TV.
Brazil, comes over,
Trash TV.
decent looking person. She's kind of a
But
kind of a bitch, right?
It's normalizing that behavior. It's normalizing the K-1 visa process. It's normalizing,
They take a test to
immigration.
be like, okay, how well do you know this person? It's not
I
hard.
don't take a test.
I can take a test and tell you how well I know you, and technically we can get married and you can move to my country, right?
How much do you ever actually know somebody?
You never do.
Do you ever know somebody 100%?
No.
Like you and I have known each other for a long time.
You still don't know anything about me.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about you.
Yeah.
But Daniel, I know you
I was gonna say, do you know
inside and out.
Oh man! Wow. Okay,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, ladies. He's single. He's hot to
All right,
trot, and he is beautiful.
This isn't fucking. This isn't
I'm a matchmaker.
Bumble. Okay.
No, but it will be up on Rumble.
Nice segue.
See,
nice
see?
segue. You can also check us out at our website, unrefinedproject.com.
There you go. There you go.
So the asylum potential. So there was a cartoon that was going around about 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago.
Yeah.
Where it's a picture of a beaver wearing like a Canadian hockey jersey,
Was it bald?
holding a door back.
Was it bald?
Right, it's standing in front of like a wall and a gate,
Yeah.
and behind it is like USA flags and little COVID balls, like virus COVID balls.
Yeah, the
Confederate-
the little spike proteins or whatever. Yeah,
like a Confederate flag and everything, and it was like them trying to keep coronavirus and all
At bay.
the crap that comes with America at bay. And I just think it's so ironic that that cartoon was like only a month or two old.
You know,
and now Canadians are literally trying to flee their own country.
this is a good segue into the next topic I got for you, unless you want to shoot over to one of yours.
No, I mean, let's.
My next topic is going to be COVID and health. Has COVID shown us how mentally fragile humans really are?
Yeah.
Do you think it has?
No, yeah, that was a huge miscalculation on my part. I underestimated the impact.
Yeah.
that the situation would have mentally.
A month into it, you know, we had the data. Hey, it's really affecting the older people, people with comorbidities and stuff like that. But from the beginning,
I'd say the first like 2 or 3 months.
2 or 3 months, it was
really
kind of a scare, right?
Really didn't.
You know,
what
I was at a
going on.
hospital. I actually had to go work at a hospital
Yeah.
the day before the lockdown, right? We were told don't wear masks. You know, Fauci had that whole don't wear masks. You know, you don't need the masks. You don't need the mask. So I didn't wear masks.
Which is when I was most virulent about wearing a mask.
Was
in the beginning.
I wasn't wearing a mask. I was
religious
told,
about it.
hey, don't wear a mask. There's no point. Just don't wear a mask. It's a respiratory virus. It doesn't work. Don't wear a mask. You know, and you come to find out that was his little lie, basically saying, okay, we needed more masks for personnel, right? Hospital personnel. The day that happened, I was in a hospital, walked downstairs. There's some double doors that are normally never closed, right? So I walk over to them, go to open the doors. As I'm opening the doors, there's a lady on a wheelchair. She looks like she's in her deathbed, right? She's coughing all over the place. She didn't have a mask on, but the guys that were pushing the gurney, full suit. Full-on suit, face mask, everything like that. And I'm standing there like, you know, and this is like a week into it, right? Our lockdown is coming the day after. It was in March, because I think our lockdown was actually the very next day when everybody was sent home. She's walking right by me, or wheeled right by me, from me to you, that far away, coughing up a storm. She was probably in her 90s. They were taking her to get lung x-rays to see how far the pneumonia had spread and stuff like that.
Pneumonia.
And, you know, and I'm sitting there thinking like, this could be a little scary. You know, I should probably get some hazard pay for this. I didn't. Right? I'm gonna go home. You know, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna wash up. I'm gonna clean up. Blah blah blah. You know, and then a few months into this, we found out okay, it's not really our age group that needs to be worried about it, right? It's the older, unhealthy age groups. But one thing that has never been brought up from the beginning, from the exalted Dr. Saint Fauci.
Peace be upon him.
Yes, there's only one doctor better than him, and that's Dr. Joe Biden, right? The two greatest doctors to survive.
I don't know, Dr. Oz.
Yeah, I was thinking the Wizard of Oz, but okay.
Dr. Phil.
Yeah, Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil's a pretty cool guy.
I love the dude who started bum fights that went on Dr. Phil's show, dressed as Dr. Phil.
Did they get in a fight?
No, it's pretty meta though. Anyway, sorry.
Did you hear Mel? Did he what?
He got kicked off.
Got kicked out.
It was
Did he really?
He showed up in like a bald wig. It looked just like Dr. Phil, but like a skinny version. It was hilarious.
They wouldn't let him in at all?
No, he made it on site and just stared at him. He was like, with like his mustache.
Oh, really?
It's.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's been memed a million times. You can
You have
find
to
it.
bring it up, Daniel.
You can find it in the old interwebs.
Yeah.
Probably on our social media.
Yeah. Once the internet came out, you can't hide anything. Everything comes back up, right?
I'm lucky I was born when I was.
I was born pre-internet, right?
If I was a
I think
14-year-old,
we had dial-up, so porn was really hard to watch.
if I was it wasn't that hard.
Really hard. It's like little nee-nee, nee-nee,
You just
nee-nee, and you're like, all right, I'm
you
done.
needed a window. You needed to know how long you're going to be alone.
Yeah.
That way you know what level you're going to get into it. You know, if I got an hour, it's going to be a
Yeah,
good time.
yeah.
If I got 10 minutes,
Yeah.
it's still going to happen. But
It's
just
going to
gonna
take an
be-
hour long to put up a
just gonna be
picture, and
quick.
you're like, that picture sucks.
No, but like if I was like a 14-year-old, and all of my friends, including myself, had a camera in their pocket, not good, dude.
Yeah,
Not
it would have been different.
Yeah. Not getting into like prestigious places.
I don't know. Mental fragility of human beings has changed so much. Or has it? I mean, has it really changed, or has it always been this way and we just never noticed it?
No.
You know, people just going on with their daily lives. The first little scare comes out, you know, and everybody's just frozen solid, stuck. Can't make up their own minds, listen to everything everybody's got to say, and just keeps going and going, and they just follow the fucking rules and over and over and over again. Rules don't seem to be working out for them now.
They're not rules.
And they're still following it. Or guidelines,
rules.
right?
They're burned
Mandates.
They're burned into people now.
It's
They
so
don't need somebody in their ear telling them to put their mask on anymore. Their default mode is now
it's
put
so
the mask
crazy.
on.
So crazy.
It's a rewiring.
And then when you take the mask off, everybody's happy. Oh, thank you, government. Thank you, government.
Boom.
That's mental conditioning.
Right? Two steps forward, one step back. Still feels like you've regained all your ground.
That's like if you starve somebody for a week and you give them a plate of food, they're going to love you for that plate of food, right? It's not the fact that you starved them for a week.
How many people are in abusive relationships right now?
A lot.
A lot more than we'd like to admit.
And they turn around and keep coming back for more, right?
There you go.
So I you know, that's the kind of thing that bothers me.
No, I really underestimated how much it was going to impact my family and my loved ones and my friends mentally.
Yeah.
I know people that, you know, don't have a lot of friends and really cherish the time that they spent with their. And admittedly, one of my favorite things to do is go out on girls' night. I don't care if I can find someone to watch our kids while my wife is going out to dinner with her friends, and if I'm lucky enough to be invited, I love going to girls' night.
Yeah, because all your girlfriends are lefties.
No, it's just because they all just like, you know, talk about a bunch of shit that I would never talk about with the boys, but I get to like have some good food and, you know, share some laughs and stuff. But it's like, you know, a lot of people had that taken away and they couldn't do that anymore. So now they're just like kind of sitting at home on the couch with that same amount of alcohol that they might enjoy with their friends, but now it doesn't feel as good going down, but you're still getting the effects of
I think alcohol consumption has gone up quite a bit. Quite a bit in the last 2 years.
Drug use in general.
Drug use,
Cigarettes,
overdoses,
pills.
you know. For a while there, San Francisco had more overdose deaths per day than COVID deaths. And that was at the peak of the pandemic. That was when everybody in San Francisco had COVID, you know?
Don't get me started on San Francisco. I was in that city when all of this crap started. And I remember I was working right next to the mall. I don't want to talk. And it was next to that really busy parking garage on 2nd Avenue or whatever it is. And I went from eating in the food court. There it is. Thank you. Remember eating in the food court, you know, in the mall where thousands of people were walking around every day to not even being allowed in the mall and having to eat, you know, a packed lunch on the job site.
Yeah.
Yeah, San Francisco, man. San Francisco has fallen.
And then you look at these Scandinavian countries that everybody thought was dumb from the beginning. What they did is they protected their old, they protected their sick, they put them away. You can't see them. You can't see them. We're going to hide them. We're going to hide them. We're going to hide them. I think that was the greatest idea. All you young fucks, go back to work. Yeah. You go back to work. You guys get COVID. You're going to be fine. You know, very small chance, right? The chances you're more likely to die walking out of your front door. You know, getting hit by lightning sometimes.
Well, back to
car accidents, right? Car accidents happen way more than COVID deaths in our age group.
Back to your question, though. I do believe that we are the weakest version of our species that has ever existed. And I think there's a direct correlation to technology with that weakness.
Do you think this is a weak time creating strong men, though? Or do you think this is a weak time?
I think weak men are currently creating bad times.
And then the strong men will rise up. They have to, whether it's this generation, the next one. the generation after that.
It's going to be on
it
us.
has
And
to.
it's going to be on us and our kids. It's a problem that the baby boomers kick down the road. I mean, this could have been solved a long time ago because weak men existed back then as well. The weak men period has been extended throughout the 20th century. Basically, ever since the Federal Reserve was created in 1913 and people started creating false flags to get into world wars to continue the debt and death paradigm for profit over people.
Yeah. Another thing about COVID and health, another question I've always had is if you're healthy, you got a really, really strong chance of beating COVID no matter what.
Physically.
Whether you're vaccinated, not vaccinated, any of that stuff. If you're physically in shape, you take your vitamins, your supplements, you eat healthy, chances of you dying from COVID are very slim.
What about just like...
Extremely slim.
What about just like being outdoors?
Being outdoors, getting vitamin D from the sun, that, the whole thing. Taking your zinc, make sure there's enough zinc in your diet, quercetin, stuff like that, or quercetin. That kind of stuff. Make sure there's enough vitamins in your diet that you're not naturally getting because we don't eat the same foods we used to when we were like Neanderthals and back in the, old days, right? So
there's a reason why.
Why has nobody, not a single person on the news, would say, hey, get up, just move your body. Go outside, just move your body. You have a better chance. It's not, I'm not saying go to the gym. I'm not saying go put 2 hours into the gym. It's hard. I do it all the time. Put an hour to 2 hours in the gym. It's hard to do that. Just get up. Go for a walk.
Because that was never...
Don't eat McDonald's every fucking day.
Well, that was never supposed to be part of the narrative. There's a reason why...
It's amazing that they don't say it, though, right? Say it. Say it.
There's a reason why fast food restaurants remained open while mom and pop restaurants closed. There's a reason why weed dispensaries and liquor stores stayed open while farmers markets were closed.
I think it's become a class thing. I really do.
They shut beaches down.
If you go to McDonald's, you can get a burger for $1, right?
Not anymore. No.
Or a couple bucks, right? Well, inflation's
They
gone through the roof.
do the Big Mac thing all the time. You used to be able to get a Big Mac for like $3.
Now it's like $5, $6 or whatever.
Yeah.
But, that's with this crappy inflation, that's understandable. But get up, move, right? But if you go to Whole Foods, where food is actually cheaper to produce, it costs 3 times the amount. They've made it a class thing to where...
What do you mean when you say a class thing?
It's a class. That's a class thing, right? They've made it to where
wealthier
people...
Classism?
Well, wealthier people have the ability to eat healthier. Nobody's opened up a restaurant that is a healthy alternative to a fast food restaurant that's actually healthy for you at the same price as fast food. Sorry, this is a tangent.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. That's a great one.
Chick-fil-A.
Take the bun off. Don't eat the waffle fries. Dip your little tater tots in the. Dip your little nuggets in the sauce.
I love me some Chick-fil-A.
I love dipping my nuggets in those sauces. You know what I mean? But
oh my.
Speaking of inflation, did you know that inflation actually affects you differently based on where you live in the country?
Yeah.
We have a national inflation of like 9% or whatever bullshit.
It's 9.5, I think.
It's lies. It's more than likely double digits, if not double that number.
Depending on what you're buying, yeah.
But places like San Francisco and LA, for example, only saw about a 3.5% to 4% increase in inflation, where places like Atlanta saw the largest increase in inflation.
Why is that?
Good question. Why do I think that is? They've already squeezed enough artificial price gouging out of the market in these areas, and they haven't been able to do so in poor areas. Poorer areas where people that are fleeing places like California and New York are going to.
Yeah, and then you see tweets
Texas,
from Bernie,
Florida,
though, right?
Georgia.
You'll see tweets from like Bernie Sanders saying, "Oh, it's these rich corporations trying to they're giving themselves raises and stuff. It's not inflation. It's not." Yes, it's fucking inflation. There's nothing you could do about it now.
Inflation is happening because we have artificially low interest rates and people refuse to get rid of the.
We have artificially and low interest rates. We pumped a shitload of money into the economy. Not enough goods were made. Like another Breitbart thing, right? I think it was Breitbart. Inflation is too many dollars chasing too few goods.
Sure.
Right?
But where are those dollars coming from and why are they?
They're just being printed.
Okay, but why?
There's no backing. There's no backing.
There has to be a reason. There has to be a reason. And that's the economy and the people are...
Yeah, they've shut down everything and they're like, oh, here, we'll just pay you.
Well, we're drunk on funny money.
We're drunk on power and money here.
We're drunk on funny money and perceived power. It's the illusion of power. We don't have power when we go into debt.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's like saying you have power when you're unhealthy and fat.
Yeah.
Right? It's propaganda. It's brainwash. It's bullshit. You're not healthy. You are out of breath when you go up the stairs. And that's what Rogan screams about all the time, right? It's
just
like,
get healthy. Just
get healthy. Take care of your body. Stop bitching about what's happening across the street or with your neighbor.
You know, one thing that made me I used to be like that, right? I used to be like, oh, go do this. Oh, go do that. Oh, go do this. And one day, for some reason, I don't remember if I heard it somewhere or not, I literally thought about it as all I have to do is move my body. Most things you don't have to think about doing, right? You go for a walk, you don't even have to think about it. You literally just move one foot in front of the other and you just move your body. Just move your body. It's not hard.
Movement is life.
Yeah. You'll be healthier than you've ever been in your entire life. 30-minute walk around the block. 30-minute walk a day.
Movement is life.
And I'll bet you there would have been a lot less COVID deaths.
Well,
but
again,
there's no way to prove it, obviously. So that's just an opinion. But
they closed outside. They closed outside. I was trying to take my boy to a beach.
That's amazing.
And I had to go well out of a certain city's city limits.
Yeah.
In order to just be able to not step over caution tape to go to the beach.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why that happened. It wasn't by accident. It wasn't, out of desperation. They knew full well the implications of the lockdowns.
Yeah.
The teenage suicide rate, especially amongst young girls, the exponential increase in speech therapy requests,
drug overdoses. Yeah,
domestic dispute, all things, drug related, pills, alcohol. The domestic violence. Every time I hear that as an excuse, it's not an excuse, but it's actually happening from the shutdowns. The domestic violence has gone through the roof. I think that's bullshit. Why?
Why is there domestic violence in the first place?
Because a lot of people get together with individuals that they can't really stand, and they lean on their ability to go to their job for 8 hours a day, and go out to dinner with their girls, and go to the gym, and all these miniature escape.
That's the problem.
Vessels.
You got to get somebody. If I got any advice for anybody, you've got to get somebody that you can stand being around 24 hours a day if you want.
You know what a really good test of that is? Go on a road trip with somebody you're dating for like a month.
Yeah.
Dude,
what's that?
A vacation.
Yeah,
vacation,
if you're dating somebody for a month or two and you can't stay in a car with them for like 3 or 4 days straight, you got a problem.
Yeah?
You got a problem. Yeah. I'm getting ready to go on a 2-week road trip. Shoved inside a vehicle with my wife and 2 kids.
Yeah,
you need to make sure you can do that.
I'll be looking out for those DV paperwork
before you move forward with all that. But I mean, that's parental coalition of a man and a woman.
That's people are different. That's totally normal. Another couple things bring up about COVID and health. Vaccines. Isn't it a right to choose to be vaccinated or not vaccinated? I'm just curious. You can't be shunned from society because you've chosen to not do something, right? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me why they're pushing so hard when I get from the beginning, they're like, okay, you're not vaccinated, you're going to spread this. You're going to spread it. You're going to spread it. Now we know that's not true. So what's the push for the vaccine? Is it the money? Is it the big pharma in the pockets of the politicians? What is it? What's the point?
Profits over people.
You may have a better chance of not landing yourself in the hospital if you're vaccinated. I don't know.
I don't believe that.
I haven't seen the paperwork for it.
Believe that.
Their paperwork has been sealed they tried to seal it for 74 years. A judge said, no, you've got 8 months. So in 8 months, we'll find out if that's the truth or not.
The jury is definitely not out.
They never had to advertise for it. They couldn't advertise for it because it's emergency use. So we're getting the wrap-up signal here. 5 minutes, so
let's stay in that vein for a minute because I do think that that's important.
That's a very important one.
I think there was a lot of incentive based in profit. There was a lot of incentive for hospitals to start claiming that certain deaths.
You don't think part of it was actually somebody wanted to help fix something?
No.
You don't think not even one smidgen?
No, because at the end of the day, we don't have enough time for this. At the end of the day, you have to either chalk it up to malice or
incompetence. Yeah.
Right? But if you start lining up all the things that happen, boom, 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 and give it a 50-50 shot of whether it's incompetence or whether it's malice or incompetence, you start getting to a point where not everything could have possibly been incompetence.
No, there's too many
variables
right?
that
happen one after another.
At a certain point, something has to be
yeah,
malice, right? So these people are bought and paid for. We see it with the politics. We see it with the head of pharma. They're all intertwined. They all go into the same restaurants in D.C. and have dinner with each other and clink glasses just like we did when we started this thing.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, like you and I don't want to control people. We don't want to be in control of other people. We don't really want to tell people what to do. These people do. So I think this is definitely part of a much larger agenda. I think this is not only the fact that they made $20 billion last year. It's like when you and I make X amount of dollars per year.
Yeah.
We want to always try and make a little bit more the next year, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's normal.
Same thing. So I think we have a very large uphill battle with this whole thing. Certain places in the states have dropped a lot of this stuff. South Dakota never had one COVID mandate the entire time. Places like California,
very very small populated area too, is what a lot of people would complain about. Oh, it's not populated. It's not populated.
Nah, I don't care.
So it's not as dirty as what they're saying.
It's
right?
not as driven with fear.
Yeah,
people aren't as fearful there as they are here. There's a lot of still very scared people here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just attempting to kind of encourage other people to be doing what we're doing. I don't really care what you talk about. I want you to be able to talk about whatever you feel like talking about, and there's going to be an audience out there. I follow a bunch of subreddits that have a lot of very obscure topics that have hundreds of thousands of followers.
Well, you know what? If anybody out there watching has a topic you'd like to hear, if you'd like to be a guest, come on. We've got plenty of seats here. We've got some extra cameras. We've got extra microphone. I'd love to have you on. If you have a totally different view than us, definitely come on. I'd love to pick your brain. I'd love to sit down and hear what you have to say. Next week, we are going to be doing the simulation, the real-life matrix, and maybe not. Some currency communications, I guess you would kind of call it, right?
We can always understand the difference between fiat
See if
and
Scrooge
currency.
McDuck actually could jump into a vault full of coins without breaking his neck.
And see whether this whiskey is real or if I think it just tastes good.
You're drinking something different than me. I drink my Four Roses. I love this stuff. It's not expensive, cheap, one of my favorite ones, good bite to it.
I see you.
And before we finish up, I'd like to play an audio of Dr. Phil kicking out the bum fight creator.
Yes.
You got it on video?
Here's an audio.
Yes.
It's a sick world.
Stop the tape. Stop the tape. I don't want to talk to you.
Why not?
That's despicable. I don't want to talk to you. You can go.
He's just like Dr. Phil, bald head.
Pretty sure he's wearing a brown suit.
If you think I exploit people, every time you bring a guest on this show, you exploit them and spread whatever the problems they have to the whole world. You think that's helping them?
Yeah, keep telling yourself that. You can go.
Nice.
Right
pull.
on, Dr.
That's
Phil.
where,
Good
that's
pull.
where they escorted him out.
Right on, Dr.
Yeah.
Phil.
Hey, at the end of the day, we need a safe place to talk about tough things.
Yeah. All right, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Well, thanks for listening in.
We'll try to get some good comments coming up, or good context coming up, not comments.
Hey, you can leave your comments down below.
Leave your comments down below if you liked it. You like it. If you didn't, give us another try next week. See what happens. If you want to talk more, give us a call. If you know who we are, if you want to be on the show, you know how to get a hold of us.
Second pitch.
Second pitch. Why not? I don't care.
How about this? This has been the Unrefined Project. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you on the flip side.
Yeah. Later, guys.